Hey everybody, Hake Hardware here, and in this video we are going to go over setting up Ollama if you have AMD integrated GPU in Windows. So I was kind of surprised that Ollama didn't have support for my 680M. The guide should also work for 780M and 890M, which also don't seem to be supported out of the box by Llama, which is kind of a shame. But what you can do is build from source with support for these GPUs. And for the most part, this guide is the same. I want to make a few adjustments in this guide just to make it more clear when you need to deviate slightly. How it kind of works is the 680M and the 780M, it's basically the same except for there's one point where you download a different file. The 890M, you can actually skip that whole step. It's a little bit easier because there's already support built into HIP 6.4.2 SDK for this 890M. And I am going to actually make a video for each of these GPUs, but this guide will work for them as well if you want to just follow the guide. But we are starting with the 680M. So this computer that I'm on is a GMK Tech M7 AMD Ryzen 7 Pro with a Radeon 680M. And there's quite a few steps, but the main thing is once we get Ollama installed, you actually shouldn't update it because it's going to overwrite our build that we do, the custom build, with the updates. So whenever you need to update Ollama, you're going to have to rebuild with the latest updates. You need to install all the necessary tools. There's a lot of them, as you can see, like Go, MinGW, the Adrenaline Drivers Git, HIP, build tools, CMake, NO, all this stuff needs to get installed. If you're looking for something that's just pretty easy, I recommend LM Studio. It works out of the box and it's really good. But if you want to be able to do Ollama for whatever reason, this guide will get you up and running. So first we're going to install Go, and we will just choose Microsoft Windows. I'm on Windows 11, so we will just click this executable. All right, just click OK with that, and next, next, next. For almost all these things, you're going to be using the default installer settings. Gotta love the little logo up here. Okay, finished up that. We can actually close out of this page and we will move on to the next instructions, which is going to be installing this MinGW. So we'll go to the releases page over here and we'll go down to assets, and it's going to be for almost everybody this last one down here, 8664-15 2.0 Win32. So I'll go ahead and click that. We'll open the folder here. And we're going to extract all, but we wanted to actually just do it to our C drive. So I'm just going to select the C drive and then extract. And this actually ends up being pretty big. A lot of files in here. Okay, so we have this extracted MinGW64 on our C drive. And this is kind of important because in our next step, we need to set up we can close out of that GitHub page, we need to set up the environmental variables. So we need to copy this bin path here, and then we need to, we don't actually right click, we'll type in system here, find edit the system environment variables, click the environment variables, and then under the path, you're going to want to click Edit, New, Paste, and then just OK, and OK. And that's going to set up our path for MinGW. Those are the steps there. And if you already have the latest Adrenaline drivers, you can actually just skip this step. I am starting brand new. I don't have this linked, so we can just do Adrenaline drivers. I'll get that linked in the guide. And then we'll do download Windows drivers. and we'll get this installed. So you're going to get prompted for allow this app to make changes to your device a lot on some of these things. You're just going to click yes for all of them. Okay, you're just going to accept and express install. It says downgrade here. I'm not sure why I don't have the drivers installed yet. So we're just going to click accept and express install. All right, the installer has finished. We don't need to launch anything, but we will keep everything up to date. We'll just close out of that. And then we can close out of that. And we'll just scroll past these instructions here. And the next thing we're going to want to do is install Git. So we can clone the repo. We're just going to, there's a lot of options to select from. We're just going to keep hitting next all the way through, basically. Okay, we don't need to view the release notes. We'll just click finish here, close out of that. And now we need the HIP 6.4.2 SDK. We're going to do Windows 10 to 11 here at the top. We'll accept the terms. And then that will be downloading. We can just close out of that because it's bright. And we'll wait for that to download. Okay, we can go ahead and click that. I think it should start it. Okay, we'll just go ahead and click yes. We'll accept all the defaults here and just click install. Okay, we'll go ahead and click finish. We can close out of that. And next thing we're going to want to do is validate the HIP path. So again, we're going to go into our search bar. You should probably see the environment variables still there from last time. Let's jump in there and close out of that. And we just want to verify that our HIP path and HIP path 64 is good. It is, but we still need to add a new, we'll go ahead and click edit, and then we'll click new. And we want to put this program files AMD ROCm 6.4. So we'll copy that. And just have to hit new again there, and then just hit paste, and then OK, OK, OK. And okay, so replace ROCm library files. So if you have what's considered basically like an unsupported GPU, then you need to copy in some new library files. If you have the 890M, it should work without this step, and you can just proceed to the next part of this. So let's go ahead and, so we'll look at the, let's go to this. This is a repo that has the like extended files here. And you can see basically if you're GFX, and we go back here, we can see the code names here. So I have a, this is really hard to see. Even zoomed hard to see, but I have a 680, which is supposed to be 34, but it's like, actually doesn't even show in here. 1033. Yeah, it doesn't, it's kind of annoying. It doesn't even show in here, but actually a better place to look is if you do comfy UI's Luda, or whoops, spelled that wrong, but it still knows what I'm trying to do here. If you scroll down to here under setup, you can see basically the list of unsupported. So these are basically like the unsupported GPUs. And so for 780M, you're going to be looking for GFX 1103. For 680M, you're going to be looking for GFX 1035. So if I go back to this repo, I want to get the 34, 35, 36. So we'll go ahead and click that. We're going to download it, open it up, extract the files just to the current directory is fine. And you're going to see two files in here, a DLL and a library. Now what we're going to do is open up a little tab here. We can actually close out of this other one. We're going to go to this PC, go to the C drive, and then you're going to do program files, AMD ROCm 6.4 bin rock blast. And what we're going to do is we're going to rename this as, oops, we'll just do library backup. You'll hit continue. It's a protected directory, so you can't just make changes without admin privileges. And what we're going to do is we're going to Control C, then Control V, hit continue again, and we're going to paste that library, the new library folder in here, and it's going to be using that library folder. Then we're going to go to the bin folder, up one folder, and we're going to copy this DLL and just click over here to the right and then hit Control V to paste it in. And you do want to replace the file, and you'll have to hit continue again. And now you'll be pasting in that new DLL file. So we have the new library files all set up and ready to go. And that's what these instructions I'll tell you about. And now we need to install build tools so that we can actually build the files. I have a to-do listed in here, which I will do, I promise. So we'll just open up this and we're going to click download build tools. We're going to open up the .exe file, click yes. And then we'll just hit continue. Let it download and install the installer. Leave it to Microsoft where you actually have to install your installer. Okay, you want to check under desktop and mobile this desktop development with C++. That's going to install some of the build tools that we need. We'll go ahead and click install and we'll let that go. And this does take a little bit of time. This is actually taking a pretty good amount of time. So if it takes a while for you, don't worry. It does eventually finish. Okay, that did get stuck on 134, 135 for a while, but we did finish up. Everything's installed. We go ahead and click X. We can X out of that, X out of that. And so we are going to need to restart. I'm in a VM, so let's just get this thing restarted. And once it's back up, we will continue. Okay, we are back in. Just give it a second to boot up here. We'll get our Firefox open and let's get back to our instructions here. Okay, we were on build tools. Now let's get CMake. And again, I need to add the download page here. But we're just going to go down and under binary distributions, we're going to get the x64 installer and we'll run that. We'll just go ahead and accept the defaults and install. Okay, we'll go ahead and hit finish. Next, we need to install Inno. So we'll go to the downloads page. I actually remembered to put the link in this one. We'll open up the installer. We'll click yes, okay, accept the terms, accept all the defaults. And we don't need to launch anything. It's going to actually automatically instantiate Inno when it needs to create the installer. Okay, so we are finally ready to get the repo. So I recommend cloning this to your root directory. So if you just open up the terminal by right-clicking, doing terminal, you can just do cd c:/ to get to your root directory. Then you're going to do git clone, and we're going to clone the official repo here. And that's going to clone everything in your C drive. So if you were to open up your File Explorer, this PC C drive, you're going to see Ollama is right here alongside MinGW, which we installed earlier. Okay, we are cloned. And let's see, what do we want to do here? Okay, so we need to make 2 updates. And it's a little bit of a pain. If you have something like VS Code and you want to open it up in a code, an integrated development environment like an IDE, that would make this a lot easier. We're just going to do it in Notepad. So the first thing we're going to do is actually open up Notepad. So you can just search Notepad here and got it. And you can do File, Open. We're going to go to this PC C drive, Ollama, and you're going to find, it's going to be pretty much the only text file, CMake lists, and you're going to double click that to open it up. Now we're going to scroll down, and what we're looking for is, it's kind of like a regex statement, basically, but it's specifically for AMD targets include. Now there's also an exclude that looks very similar, but we want the include file or line. So just keep that highlighted to remember where it is. And what we're going to do is copy the new line that we're going to use. So we'll go ahead and copy that. We'll go ahead in the notepad, and what you're going to want to do is highlight just to where the list starts, and then just hit Control V, and you'll just paste that in there. And don't forget to save it. So File, Save. And next, we're going to open a JSON file. So by default, this doesn't show, but if we do File, Open, and instead of text documents, we're going to want to choose All Files. And you're going to look for this CMake presets.json file, and we'll go ahead and open that. And you're going to want to scroll down. You're going to see a lot of CUDA stuff. We're just going to pass all this, and you see AMD GPU targets. Now this is going to be the ROCm 6 targets that it builds for. We don't need to build for tons of all these like GPUs. We only want to build for the GPUs that we have. So for me, like I said before, I'm 1035, so GFX 1035. That's the only one I want to build it for. Now, if you have a couple different GPUs you want to do a build for, you could put a couple of them there. But I'm just going to do just the single GPU here. File, Save, and we can close out a notepad. So you can see in the example, I'm using GFX 1035, and this should correspond again to the GFX that you looked up earlier. If you're like a 890M, I think it's like 1103 or something like that. You'll have to look it up. Okay, and then we actually just run the build script, and that's going to be pretty much it. So if we go back to our shell here, we'll go cd Ollama. And then you're just going to right click to paste the build script. Then you'll hit enter. And this, again, takes a little while to build, but it should create a Ollama installer for you. So let's just let this finish. Oh, one quick note. You're probably going to see some warnings. You're going to see some things that look like it's a problem. As long as the script continues to run, it's fine. So just, hang tight, and hopefully it finishes for you. Okay, that took probably 10 to 15 minutes, and there were some pretty long periods where it looked like nothing was happening. So again, just be patient. Most likely it's going to finish. And we can see that it put the Ollama setup.exe in the dist folder. So we'll open that up. Ollama. Dist, and we can see the Ollama setup is right here. So this is what we're actually going to do. Double click that, and the Ollama setup will run. So this will actually install Ollama on your system. Okay, so after it installs, it actually starts running automatically. We'll see it over here. Now there's a few things. I don't know Ollama very well. I'll be honest. Like, I've literally never used it. I usually, when I do use it, it's in like Docker or something like that. So I don't know too much about it, but I do know that first, it takes a little while to like start. So it's down here, but it hasn't actually like started. I'll get another notice that basically says like Ollama is running or something when it actually starts running. But because we built our own installer with support for AMD, you can't just update Ollama. It'll overwrite. It'll basically put a new default build back over your system that you just worked so hard to create. So do not update through the UI for Ollama. You only want to update by basically rebuilding with like the latest updates. So just keep that in mind. I guess maybe it is running, but what I usually like to do is just quit Ollama. Like I don't want to start it that way. I'll go into, let's just create like a new PowerShell here, and you can just do Ollama serve, and that is going to start Ollama for you. And this is nice because we can actually go in and see like that our AMD Radeon. So because I don't know, I guess with a 680M, it doesn't actually say it here, but it did find it. And it has 8 gigabytes, of course, like with system memory, you might want to bump, I don't know how Ollama handles shared memory. So I'd say like you want to go ahead and like bump that up to 16 if you can. Typically it's in the BIOS. But right now, okay, so Ollama is running. And then what we can do, scroll down here. This just goes over, like if you want to just run this installer through command prompt. I don't know if it's going to, so, okay, so it doesn't actually show up like down here in the toolbar when you run it with Ollama serve, which is nice. And we could pull down a model to test. And I'm wondering if I could try and do the GPT OSS one. So what if I do Ollama pull GPT OSS 20B? I don't know if it actually is going to know what that is. GPT OSS 20B. Okay, cool. So it's actually a pretty big file. Let's let it download. I think this should be more than 8 gigabytes, so I think we'll see if it actually like handles it gracefully, if it overfills that 8 gigabytes. Because I have 32 gigabytes of, well, actually, let's just bring up my task manager here. Okay, so for GPU, I've set aside 18 gigabytes of dedicated, but you can see we have up to 20 gigabytes of GPU memory, and that's just system memory. So you can see I typically have like 32 gigabytes of system memory, and because I've dedicated 8 of it to the GPU, it only shows 23.8 available here, but I can add like another 11.9 of shared RAM when I load a model. So we'll see what happens when I load this model in. There's a few things we're going to need to do, and I'll just cover them real quick right now while it's downloading. Maybe there's a better way to do this. I haven't been able to pin the GPU to fully offload everything to the GPU without creating what is it called? A model file. So this is something you run in command prompt, and apparently it creates this model file, and then, or it creates like the file, and then you create the model file with this Ollama create, and then, and we'll have to modify this slightly for the GPT OSS, but this numGPU 99 is what offloads everything to the GPU. And then, because if you don't do this, it'll like split it 50-50 with the CPU. So we want the GPU to do all like the compute stuff. And then we can actually run this make file with just Ollama 3.2 GP, 3.2-GPU, because that's what we named it somewhere. Oh, right here. So what we'll do is instead of this text, we'll just do like GPT OSS-GPU. So let's just wait for this to download. Okay, I'm actually shocked that it downloaded that fast. Usually, like for some reason, the last couple percent take like an hour, but that was pretty quick. So let's see if we can. I'm just going to put this in Notepad and change it real quick, make it a little bit easier. So we're going to do GPT OSS 20B. That should be fine. And then we'll do GPT OSS GPU. So we'll see if that works. Kind of flying by the seat of my pants here, because again, I am not good with Ollama. So let's just paste it in there. And then we'll run this. Okay, it said success. So now we can just do Ollama run GPT OSS GPU. And let's check our system resources here. We should hopefully see, yep, there we go. Okay, we overflowed our 8 gigabytes. Looks like we are going to max out at around 13.8 gigabytes of system memory. So this actually runs it no problem with our little 680M. Let's do something. I don't know. I guess we'll do like, tell me about an important battle in World War II. Okay, we can see compute here is using 100%. So this is good because we're not using any CPU. Well, there is CPU usage, but it's not offloading anything to CPU. And we can see this is actually quite fast, like super usable. Again, like really nice. It looks like it thought for, I don't know. I actually don't know how to do like how it, like to make it tell me how many tokens per second. Again, I need to watch some tutorials on how to use Ollama, but I mean, this seems like we're talking 18, 16, 18 tokens per second. But again, like LM Studio can do this without all the rigmarole of installing all these extra things and having to build it ourselves. And, you know, I don't know. I guess like if you know, like in the comments, please let me know like the benefits of running Ollama versus like something like LM Studio. Like Comfy UI, I get it. Images, you can't do images in LM Studio. Like that makes sense to go through the effort, but I just don't know. And then alternately, like just run Linux, I guess, because I think ROCm support's pretty good with Linux. So that's going to be my next battle is installing like Ubuntu, or I've heard Fedora, I guess, is maybe good. So I'm going to be testing these mini PCs out. I have a M7, which is what we're doing here, which is the AMD Ryzen 7 Pro 6850H with the 680M. I have the K12, which is like the Ryzen 255H with the 780M. And then I have an X1 with, I don't even know, one of the AI newer CPUs with an 890M. And then I am going to be very soon have in my hands the GMK Tech X2 with 128 gigabytes of system memory there, whatever it is, like the LDDR5 something X, the 8,000 mega transfers per second, like onboard RAM. So I will be testing that out too. So I've got 4 mini PCs. I'm going to be just doing everything. Windows, Linux. I'm just going to go super in depth. So if you have anything you want to see me cover with these 4 different mini PCs, all from GMK Tech, let me know. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for this. I mean, yeah, we got the model running. And it's all loaded into our GPU memory, and the performance is really good. Honestly, I could use this. Granted, again, like I'd rather just use LM Studio. So anyways, hopefully this was helpful. I know it was long. Please like this, subscribe. Really helps the channel. I'm really trying to grow this channel this year. And I'm going to be doing a lot of really cool videos in addition to our GPU cleanings as well, which I usually do back over here. I'm still going to try and release one of those a month going forward. Those are just fun for me. But anyways, please support the channel. Thanks.